What if the most loving thing you could say to your partner during a hard conversation is simply, good night? We've all heard the rule, the one that feels like it's written into the very fabric of romance. Never go to bed angry. It sounds like a promise, doesn't it? A promise that you will always choose connection, that you will never let the day, and while you feel distant from each other. But what if that promise, the one meant to hold you together, is actually what's creating the space between you? What if following that rule without question is what wears down the trust you've built, slowly and quietly? To understand this, let's go to a specific place. Imagine it's past midnight. The house is completely still, completely dark except for one light. It's that harsh, yellow glow from the lamp on the nightstand. That light makes every shadow in the room seem deeper, and it's the only thing illuminating you and your partner. You're on the edge of the bed, they're across the room, and the air between you feels thick and heavy. You're both exhausted, but you keep talking, or maybe you've stopped talking and are just sitting in that heavy silence because the rule says you have to fix this before you can rest. Now, this isn't just about being tired. Your body is in a very particular state. We can call it the late-night haze. This haze is a real physical experience, and it's driven by stress chemicals like cortisol flooding your system. And because that chemical is running high, your mind literally starts to work differently. That elevated cortisol makes it harder for the calm, rational, thinking part of your mind to function properly. At the exact same time, it makes the emotional, reactive part of your mind much more sensitive. So, this late-night haze makes clear thinking almost impossible, and it makes every small feeling feel enormous and sharp. Inside this late-night haze, you're not quite yourself, and your partner isn't quite themselves. You are two people trying to solve a delicate emotional problem while your ability to think clearly is clouded. That harsh yellow light seems to make it worse, pinning you both in the scene. And because of the haze, every word feels heavier. Every misunderstanding feels more personal, more painful. Your body isn't in a state where it can connect. It's on high alert. And so, you push for a resolution not because you found a real one, but because you are desperate for the awful feeling of that late-night haze to stop. Have you ever been there? Have you ever agreed to something at 2 in the morning just to make the conversation end? You say the words, "Okay, you're right, I'm sorry," but they feel hollow coming out of your mouth. For a moment, the heavy feeling in the room might lift, just enough for you to finally turn off that harsh yellow light and lie down. But the peace you've found isn't real. It's a temporary truce, created only by complete exhaustion. This is the great danger of forcing an answer from inside that late-night haze. That forced apology, that reluctant agreement, doesn't make the problem go away. Instead, it can leave behind a small, bitter feeling of resentment. Because a part of you knows you didn't truly agree. You just surrendered to the haze. And when you wake up, the original problem is often still there, waiting for you. But now it's covered by a thin, brittle layer of insincerity from the night before. This is so much more damaging in the long run than the disagreement itself, because you've traded a moment of short-term relief for a little bit of long-term trust. Of course, letting a problem go forever with no plan to come back to it is also harmful. Anger that isn't addressed can cause its own kind of damage. But the choice isn't just between a fake resolution and pretending. It never happened. There is another way. A way that respects both your relationship and your own human limits. It is the choice to pause. It's the choice to look at your partner even in the middle of that painful late-night haze under that harsh yellow light and say, "I love you. I am not okay right now. You are not okay right now. Can we please stop and talk about this in the morning?" This is not giving up, and it is not avoidance. It is a loving, strategic pause. It's an agreement to stop for now. And just as importantly, it's an agreement to schedule a time to continue. By saying "in the morning," you aren't abandoning the issue. You are carefully setting it aside for the night, trusting that you'll both be better people to handle it when you're not inside the haze. Because when you choose to sleep, you are choosing to use your body's own powerful tool for reconnection. What happens when you finally turn off that harsh yellow light and allow yourselves to rest? Your body immediately gets to work. Sleep isn't just a pause, it's a biological reset. It actively helps lower those stress chemicals that were fueling the late-night haze. As you sleep, your body calms down. Your heart rate slows, your breathing becomes deep and regular. Your mind begins to process the emotions of the day, but in a new, quieter way, without the pressure to perform or respond. You are giving your body the chance to undo the effects of the haze. It's important to be honest here. Sleep does not magically solve your problems. In fact, some research shows that sleep can sometimes make you remember negative feelings more strongly. This is precisely why the pause must come with a promise. You cannot just go to bed angry and hope the anger vanishes. You have to go to bed with a clear agreement. We will pick this up again. We will face this together when we are no longer trapped by the late-night haze and the harsh yellow light. The pause is the first step, and the promise to reconnect is the second. Both are essential. Think about the difference this makes. The same two people, the same exact problem. But at 3 in the morning, under that harsh yellow light, you felt like opponents. You were stuck, defending yourselves, lost in the chemical fog of that late-night haze. The problem felt huge, maybe even impossible to solve, like it was filling the entire room. You were trying to fix something delicate and complex in the dark, while you were both feeling your worst. And then, there is the morning. You wake up, the harsh yellow light from the lamp is gone, and the room is filled with soft, natural daylight. You can hear the quiet sounds of the world starting its day. You're holding a warm cup in your hands, and the simple grounding weight of it feels good. You look at your partner, and you don't see an opponent anymore. You see the person you love. You see them clearly, because the shadows created by the haze are gone. Because you've both had the gift of that biological reset, the conversation is completely different. The issue that felt impossibly large in the dark now just looks like a problem to be solved, together. Your calm, rational mind is working again, free from the late-night haze. And so you can listen without feeling attacked. You can speak your own truth without the sharp edges of exhaustion. In the clarity of morning, you are no longer trying to just end a bad feeling. You are trying to build a real solution. You are on the same team again. Because the haze is gone, this is the choice we have. The choice to keep pushing each other inside that exhausting late-night haze, fighting for a hollow truce, under a harsh yellow light. Or the choice to trust each other, and to trust that a simple pause can offer a better way back to one another. It's a path that requires you to hold the discomfort for just a little while, to sit with the feeling of something being unresolved, but it leads to a much more honest and sturdy place because it's a place without the haze. If you have ever felt trapped in those late-night arguments, if you have ever said words you didn't mean at 2 a.m. just to make it stop, you are not broken. You're not bad at relationships. You are simply human, trying to follow a piece of advice that doesn't always account for how our bodies actually work. The idea to never go to bed angry comes from a beautiful desire to always feel close. But true, lasting connection isn't built on forced agreements made in a late-night haze. It's built on honesty, respect, and the wisdom to know when you need to stop, rest, and see things clearly again. Sometimes, the strongest and most loving thing you can do for the relationship is to offer grace. Grace for the conversation to be difficult, and grace for it to take more than one attempt to get it right. It's the grace to say, we don't have to solve this all right now. We just have to agree to keep trying. It's the courage to turn off that harsh yellow light and trust that you can find each other again when the haze has cleared. The goal isn't to never feel anger or distance. That's impossible for any two people. The real goal is to learn how to move through those feelings together in a way that brings you closer instead of pushing you apart. And sometimes that means having the strength to stop, to rest, and to trust that the morning will bring a new and clearer perspective. It means trading the illusion of peace for the possibility of a real one. If this way of thinking makes sense to you, if you're looking for ways to build a more honest and resilient connection, then stay with us. We'll keep exploring these ideas together.